The hotel had stood for over a century, silent and brooding. Room 313 had been locked for decades, no one spoke about it. Emily, a young travel photographer, checked into the old inn during off-season. She requested the top floor, unaware of the room's history. "Every room's fine but not 313, the clerk warned gently. "It's out of use." Emily nodded, curious but respectful, for now. That night, wind howled through the corridor. Her room, 312, faced the sealed door of 313. Something about it felt alert. She took a photo of the door. When she checked the image, there was a pale face behind the foggy glass. Emily blinked and looked again. The hallway was empty. But the camera didn't lie. The image showed someone watching her. She knocked on 313 softly. No answer. But her breath suddenly clouded, and the hallway temperature dropped by 10 degrees. Footsteps echoed behind her, but no one stood there. She quickly returned to her room, locking the door and checking it twice. That night, her camera turned on by itself. It recorded 30 seconds of static, followed by whispering. She played the audio. A faint voice repeated, "Please don't leave me here. It's so cold. So dark." Emily's hands shook. She rewound the clip, the voice was unmistakably female. Sad. Tired. Begging. She asked the front desk about the room. The clerk grew pale. "A woman died there. Long time ago. No one goes in." "Who was she?" Emily asked. The clerk hesitated. "A guest who never checked out. Her body was never found." At night, Emily dreamed of drowning in wallpaper. Waking up breathless, tangled in her sheets, she'd always hear someone knocking, once, then silence. On the fourth night, she found her door ajar at 3:13 a.m. A cold breeze floated in, from across the hall. Emily stared at the open door, her breath fogging the air. Across the hallway, room 313's doorknob slowly turned, creaking softly in silence. She stepped out barefoot, heart racing. Her camera hung around her neck, already recording. The hallway smelled like old flowers and damp stone. Room 313's door opened a crack. A whisper slipped through, "Help me." Her skin crawled. She knew she should run, but didn't. She touched the knob. Ice cold. The door opened fully by itself. The room beyond was dusty, untouched, yet filled with a strange warmth. The bed was made. A lace nightgown lay folded atop the pillow. In the corner, an old rocking chair moved gently. Her camera captured flickering shadows, though the room had no lights. In the mirror, Emily saw another figure, standing right behind her. She turned fast, but no one was there. Only the mirror showed the ghost, a woman in white, her face pale and wet. The ghost spoke through the glass. He said he'd come back. He lied. I waited. I waited until my name faded. Emily whispered, "What's your name?" The ghost lifted her hand to the mirror, writing with invisible frost, "Clara." Suddenly, the door slammed shut. Emily tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The ghost began to hum a sad lullaby. The wallpaper curled back like peeling skin, revealing scribbled names beneath. Clara, 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 written over and over in desperate hands. The rocking chair stopped. A photo frame fell from the wall, revealing an old black and white picture. It was Clara, with someone else. A man stood beside her. His eyes scratched out with something sharp. Written on the back, "He left me behind." Clara's ghost moved closer. He promised we'd run away. But he vanished. I searched the walls for him, until I forgot my voice. Emily felt pressure behind her eyes, like a memory not hers was trying to enter. She clutched the camera for grounding. The lens cracked. Blood trickled from Emily's nose. The air grew thicker, louder. The room spun. "Set me free," Clara begged. Emily asked, "How?" Clara pointed at the floor. Beneath the carpet, something pulsed like a heartbeat buried in the wood. She tore the rug away. Underneath, a panel. She pried it open, coughing through the dust. A leather book was hidden there. Inside were letters, dozens, all addressed to Clara. All returned unopened. Stamped, "Dead." Address unknown. Tears filled Clara's eyes. "He never wrote," she said. Emily whispered, "Yes, he did. He just didn't know where to send them." Clara touched the letters. Her form shimmered, less solid, more light. She whispered, "Thank you," and began to fade into soft wind. Suddenly, the door unlocked. Light returned to the room. The rocking chair stopped. Clara was gone. Emily stumbled out. As she passed the mirror, her own reflection blinked out of sync just once. She returned to the front desk. The clerk stared in disbelief. No one ever came out of 313. We stopped trying. Emily handed him the letters. She was waiting. All this time. The clerk swallowed hard. Clara was my great-aunt. He locked the door to 313 one last time. That night, no whispers came. No cold air. Just silence. But in Emily's photos, Clara sometimes appeared. Smiling faintly, standing in light, holding her letters close. And sometimes, the mirror behind her blinked. The next morning, Emily packed her things, but something urged her to take one last look at room 313. The hallway was silent. The door stood shut, yet she could feel Clara's presence lingering, not trapped, but watching. Grateful. Resting. At the airport, she reviewed her photos again. In one frame, Clara stood smiling, holding the same letters, her eyes finally at peace. Emily posted the story on her blog. She called it, "The Forgotten Room." It went viral overnight. Thousands shared similar tales. People from all over wrote to her, saying they had dreams of Clara. Some said they'd seen room 313 in different cities. One man claimed he'd stayed in 313 years ago and never felt alone since. Another said he dreamed of her humming. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. A soft knock came at 3:13 a.m. Not her door, but the hotel room next to hers. She froze. She wasn't in the old hotel anymore. This was a new place, new city. And yet, the same time. She checked her phone. 3:13, a whisper outside, "You hear me?" Her blood ran cold. She slowly opened the curtain. There, across the dark street, stood a woman in white, not Clara, someone else. Watching her window. Emily's breath fogged the glass. The figure tilted its head. Then raised its hand, as if waving her closer. The next day, she searched for any death records tied to her current hotel. One name surfaced: Eleanor Ray. Died in room 203. Emily's room. She stared at the screen. Not again, she whispered. But she knew she couldn't ignore it. A knock echoed again that night. 313, louder this time. Her phone lit up: unknown number, but the message read, "Help her too." She checked the peephole. No one. But under her door lay an envelope. Inside, a single photo of a girl and Clara. The caption read, "She's not the only one." Emily realized Clara's story was just the beginning. These spirits weren't haunting her. They were seeking her out. She had become something new, a listener, a bridge. She returned home, changed. But the knocks continued. Different voices. Different names. Different stories begging to be heard. So she traveled again. And again. Each hotel led to another forgotten tale. She never knew who would appear, only that they would. She recorded everything. Photos, voices, dreams. Her blog turned into a project, The Midnight Rooms. Followers sent her tips. Some rooms called louder than others. In Savannah, a hotel room burned in 1964. No one rebuilt it. Yet Emily heard typing at 313 from its ashes. In Venice, she found a room bricked off from the 1700s. A mirror inside reflected a child, but not Emily. She never ran. She never screamed. She listened. And when the dead saw that, they came closer, never violent, just desperate. Some just needed to be remembered. Others warned her of things still hidden. Secrets beneath floors. Voices trapped in old wood. She never advertised her visits. The spirits somehow knew where she was. Always at 313. Always with a whisper. She began dreaming of a door. Endless hallway. Room numbers shifting. One room pulsed red, 000. She never entered. Until one night, she did. In the dream, she opened 000. Inside, every ghost she'd ever met. And one she hadn't. It was herself. Pale. Silent. Watching. Her reflection blinked, then whispered, "One day, you'll be the story someone else finds." Emily awoke from the dream sweating, breath short. The image of herself in room 000 wouldn't leave her mind. She checked her phone, it was 3:13 a.m. Again. But this time, no knock. Only silence. Heavier than ever. Her reflection in the dark window didn't move right. When she turned her head, it lingered half a second longer. She turned away. "I'm tired," she whispered. Just one night without voices. But her heart knew it wasn't over. That night, she had no dreams. Only falling. Darkness. And laughter, a child's voice echoing from somewhere unreachable. Morning came cold and gray. Her inbox had hundreds of new messages. One subject line stood out: "I saw her too." A man had stayed in 313 5 years before. He'd never told anyone what he saw. But when he read her story, he recognized Clara and her lullaby. But said another woman stood behind Clara, watching her angry. He described her in detail. Not Clara. Someone older. Shadowy. With no eyes. Just smooth, blank skin over her face. He called her the keeper. Said she wasn't trapped, she did the trapping. Clara had whispered, "Don't let her find you." Emily felt sick. What if Clara was fleeing something all along? What if the letters had only delayed her fate? She searched her recordings. In the background of Clara's final whisper, she heard something new, a second voice. It wasn't words. Just breathing. Slow, long, like wind through bone. Not Clara. Something else had been in the room too. Her next trip took her to an abandoned inn in Maine. Room 8. No mirrors. Locals refused to go near. Inside, the walls pulsed faintly. There were no windows. Just one painting of Clara. But her face was torn out. Emily stayed one night. At 3:13, she woke to see the torn canvas hole. Clara's face was back. She was crying. Blood ran from her eyes in the painting. She mouthed two words, "She's here." Emily ran. She never returned to that town. The painting, however, followed her. It arrived by post 2 days later. No sender. Just a box marked property of 000. Her hands trembled. The canvas was blank now. White. But warm. She tried to burn it. The flames wouldn't catch. Not even the edges darkened. The material wasn't normal. Her camera began turning on by itself. Always at 3:13. Always recording the painting. One night, she watched the footage. Frame by frame. At exactly 3 hours and 13 minutes, the canvas wasn't blank. A face looked out. Not Clara. The keeper. No eyes. Only teeth. No lips. Only smiling. Emily knew what she had to do. One final trip. She booked a return to the original hotel. Room 313. The staff recognized her. "You're the girl from the story," the clerk whispered. Are you sure?" She nodded. Room 313 was exactly the same. As if frozen in time. But colder. Hungrier. At 3:13, she lit a candle. Held the painting. The walls began to shake. A breath filled the room. The mirror cracked. Not from inside, from the outside. Something was coming in. Emily whispered, "I know who you are." The keeper paused. For the first time, no wind. No breath. She held up a second photo of herself. She spoke, "I won't be your next Clara. I choose silence." She smashed the camera. Tore the photo. Burned the letters. Everything she had ever recorded. She let it go. A scream pierced the room, high, inhuman. The painting shattered. Smoke poured from the cracks in the floorboards. When it cleared, she was alone. Truly. No presence. No shadows. No ticking clock. She left the room. The hotel closed for good 3 days later. The hallway sealed. Room 313 was gone. Emily never saw another ghost again. She deleted her blog. Changed her number. Burned every journal. But sometimes, at 3:13 a.m., her phone buzzed once. No message. Just a timestamp. And once, while brushing her teeth, her reflection whispered without moving its lips, "You ended it, but not for long." Now, she doesn't sleep near mirrors, doesn't stay in hotels, and never answers knocks past midnight. Because deep down, she knows the truth, the keeper waits. Not for her, but for someone new.